Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Tuesday night. It's a little bit later than normal. Some technical difficulties, but we're live. We're ready to go. It's Flyers Talk A to D. Tonight, we're going to talk about that embarrassment of a hockey game from the other night against the Rangers, losing by a final score of 6-2. We're also going to talk about a couple of the other things going on in the last couple games here, last two or three. Two really bad performances by the Flyers. We're also going to discuss what happened at the trade deadline or what didn't happen at the trade deadline. Was it good, bad, and different? We're going to talk about that and so much more. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit that share button as well. Get it out to as many people as possible. All those puckheads out there. It's time to drop the puck at the face-off. Let's get this conversation started. Let's go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Flyers Talk A2D right here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Cinsudi along with the Dark Wing, Brian Daly.
What's up, everybody? What's going on?
And we are brought to you by none other than Specialized Physical Therapy, the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. If you got any aches and pains, remember, the doc is here to help you. You make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com, and then you head either to Burlington or Cherry Hill, New Jersey. After a couple of sessions with them, you'll feel as good as new, and everything will be good to go for you, and you'll be back to doing the things you love to do. So, Specialized Physical Therapy, the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. The poll question: the loss to the New York Rangers cemented the sixth straight year of the playoffs being missed for the Flyers. Agree or disagree? Obviously, after having a strong 4-game win streak, the Flyers put up a goose egg on home ice against the Mammoth. They managed to rebound pretty well against Pittsburgh, albeit though they did give away a free point, but they still got the extra one, only to come back home and have an absolute disaster of a game against the New York Rangers, the worst team in the East. So now the question has to be asked, is this it? Is this it? Is this team officially cooked? Or is there still some type of life going on here for the Flyers? Bri, do you agree or disagree? Did this loss to the Rangers officially put it in stone that the Flyers are missing the playoffs this year?
Oh, man. First of all, no Robbie tonight. Had a little bit of a family emergency, so obviously prayers are up for Robbie. Make sure we throw it in the chat here for him. Give him and his family a little support.
Absolutely.
Love him. So hopefully we see Robbie back sooner than later. Love you, brother. As for the poll, I'm going to agree. This is a team that has looked incredibly different from the first half of the season, and I know there's a lot of what's up, Benny? Missed you the last couple weeks, dude. It's a very different team from the first half of the year. They definitely, I think, overachieved a lot in that first half. Getting some momentum from Vladar and Zegras just being absolutely red hot and just a lot of bounces going their way. I don't see it right now. They played with a little bit more grit, a little bit more edge. They played a lot of extra hockey, and I think they wore themselves out. Just the last, we'll say, 2 weeks before the Olympic break, we really started to see them kind of falter a little bit. They haven't been the same. They haven't been able to rebound. They haven't been able to find that magic that they had in the first half. There could be a number of reasons for it. Maybe it's Tocchet. Maybe it's Danny or Jonesy and their philosophy. Maybe it's something else. I don't honestly, I don't know. We're on the outside looking in on this. So we can just only see what our eyes, or tell you what our eyes are seeing. And right now it just doesn't look good. This looks like a team that's, I don't want to necessarily say has given up, but this is a team that they don't have that same magic that they had in the beginning of the season. And you thought the Olympic break was going to be helpful. It looks like we're seeing a lot of the same. Utah, they look lost. Last night they look lost. So I mean, yeah, I think they're done. I think I don't want to necessarily say that the season's over because you know me, I'm Mr. Positivity. I try and get the positive outlook in everything, but no, I can't find a positive outlook on this right now because when Sam Urshan comes in, it's just not going to help.
So I will say that I I don't want to say agree, but I kind of say yes. I agree, but my reasoning, I think, and this is how I feel, I don't think that the Flyers, there is something off, yes, but I think what's off is that it's not that they're not getting the opportunities, they're just not finishing them. They'll
Yeah,
get these golden opportunities and they won't put it in the back of the net. I don't know if it's overthought. I don't know if it's a lack of positioning or a lack of just, instinct. But whatever it is, it really needs to be addressed that the finish just is not there right now. And it's
yeah,
really hemorrhaging a lot of those opportunities because there were a couple of opportunities in that Ranger game where they had golden shots that they absolutely failed to hit the net on. And it's like, do they need to go back to just doing drills of shooting accurately? Is this what the problem is? Are they rushing their shots because they're scared that if they don't take the shot now, they won't get another opportunity to take a shot, And that's another good point. Getting in front of the net has not exactly produced a whole lot of good, unfortunately, which is not pleasant to see. It's like you can't get outworked. You have to play better than that at the
yeah.
end of the day. And
And they got flat out outworked in Utah for sure.
oh yeah, the Mammoth came in and they basically just said, "Yeah, we don't sweat you at all," and they took care of business. Whereas the Flyers were just struggling. And that game was, I'll be honest with you, that game was boring beyond all belief. It was one of the most boring games I think I ever saw in my life. Seriously, I think they had what, 8 shots by the end of the first period in total, not for the Flyers, just 4 for the Mammoth and
Yeah,
4 for the Flyers. I'm like, God, that is one of the worst first periods I've ever seen. Period. 8 shots in
yeah,
total. Awful.
yeah. And you know me, Maddie. I'm not the guy that's going to sit here and be like, you gotta average 15 shots a period.
Well,
I'm not that guy.
no, you don't have to do that.
I even got into an argument at work with the guy. I didn't really give him much thought behind it, but I'm a big believer in I don't care how many number of shots that you have at the end of the game. What I'm looking for is the number of scoring opportunities that you have.
Mm,
If you have 15 shots on net the entire game, but 12 of them were scoring opportunities, I'm going to take that every single day, because the puck's eventually going to bounce in if you're giving yourself those high danger shots.
of course.
If it's 15 shots and not one of them had a shot of going in, like you're hitting the goalie in the chest, or you know easily making these saves, tracking the pucks, you have to. That's when I'll have a problem with. You got to shoot more, but if it's high danger opportunities, I'll take 15 shots all day. But yeah, Benny, you're spot on saying that they're getting outworked. I mean, you saw it in Utah, you saw it last night. The defense has looked terrible in front of Vladar, and that's even going back a little bit further than that, and which is saying a lot because analytically, this Flyers team is high middle of the pack. So the defense has been pretty solid most of the season. It's just lately they can't. They like you said, Maddie, and I think you brought up a great point. It's they're not finishing on their opportunities, and it's really starting to cost them some games here.
It is. And even worse is that, and what's a real shame of it is that it's like all of a sudden, since the break, since coming back from the Olympics, I've noticed that Mitchkov's been playing actually better.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, of course, he's playing better and the rest of the team isn't following suit. It's like,
yeah,
of course. And it's
yeah,
like they just cannot get coordinated with this. It's like If we could get Mitchkov going and the team going at the same time, this would be such a nice situation. And Zegras was kind of finding his game again, and it's like, and then of course, again, no one else is here. It's like, man, that's what's really shitty is that like you get one or two players really going, and then everybody else just falls off a cliff. It's like
Yeah,
the team needs to be more consistent altogether. It
yeah,
can't be one of these where one or two players is going great and then the rest of the team is just, yeah, we're out to lunch.
yeah.
It's really frustrating to watch that happen. But I think it also shows that this is a team that clearly is not finished in terms of building. And I
Mm-mm.
think that that's what this ultimately tells us
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
and we'll get into it a little bit more on the second half of the show, but it's it just goes to show you it's not they make moves not to make moves, which is great. They're making moves to try and fit the system that they're putting together here, and I like that. Honestly, I love that. They could have gone out and made move after move after move, and what would that have done? This is they have a lot of ground to make up, and I don't think one or two bringing in one or two massive contracts would be something that's going to solve that, especially when you have you know guys developing that you want to bring up and see what you have, and they're at the opportunity there where they should be able to do that right now and see what bump is. You got Martone who's going to sign his ELC at the end of the year. I'm almost, I'm so confident on that right now that it's not even funny. Um, because he's going to have the opportunity now that you were able to make a couple moves and free up a couple of right wing positions. It's going to open up an opportunity for him to play.
Right. And I mean, also on top of it as well, you have to look at the way that the game's been going and the way that the series has been going at the end of the day, the way that everything's been going for the Flyers in terms of their season. It's like the team themselves, they don't have that guy who's I'm not saying that there isn't guys who can bring energy. It's just that is there not enough energy being brought to that locker room? Because it's
Yeah,
almost like, is that what the problem is? Is the problem is are they not cowboying up when they need to?
yeah,
You know,
that's a good point.
it's like, okay, so then we need someone who can actually kick somebody in the ass and say, okay, let's get this going a little bit here. Guys, we're playing like idiots. We're looking like jackasses out there.
Hmm.
Let's play like we got a set, and let's get something going here. And that's the thing is that when you have a lot of young players and you have a lot of young guys who may not know what that extra gear requires, that's when someone in the veteran side of things has to step up and show that extra gear and say, hey, we need to ante up here because we're playing like a bunch of pussies right
Yeah,
now.
no, 100%.
And I don't know if that guy's currently in that locker room. I thought it was TK. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. But, it's like, do we need somebody that needs to kind of give somebody a kick in the ass? Not necessarily yelling or screaming, but kind of motivating a little bit. Be like, yo, guys, what are we doing here? We're losing to Utah? Who the hell loses to Utah? What are you guys doing? Come on.
Utah's so good right now,
I
man.
know, I know, I know.
To kind of build off of what you're saying here, Maddie, I'm kind of with you. They definitely need a guy to bring some energy. Who it's going to be, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it needs to be TK. I think he needs to be the guy that's going to step up and essentially be that little ball of energy that they really need, especially on a nightly basis.
Hmm.
The culture of this locker room speaks a ton to me because despite what they're going through over the last month and a half, 2 months, this is a team that's still so glued together on each other. See how they reacted with Alex Bump on his first goal, how they reacted with him in the locker room, how they all basically got together and took a picture. Basically, Cam York, Zegras, Drysdale, TK, a couple other guys when Cam York had his 100th point.
Right.
So these guys are together. They're playing for each other, but they need to find They need to find something to really get them back into gear to play how they were playing at the beginning of the year. Yeah, we're in the second half of the year. A lot of teams are going to come back down to earth for sure. Look at Colorado. Colorado has really come back down to earth over the second half of the year. So they're not playing as dominant a game as they were playing at the beginning of the year either. So
Right.
the hard part is teams in front of them are getting better, and that's what's making this probably even more difficult for the Flyers. Is teams like Buffalo, they're probably the hottest team in hockey.
Well, yeah.
Islanders got better. They really kicked it into gear. Senators are par for the course. They haven't really gotten better, but they haven't gotten worse. Like teams ahead of them are just playing better, and it doesn't exactly help them.
No, it doesn't. John's saying, I have lost all faith in this organization. I've stated before, how many times do we need front office changes? Change after change, same ownership, same outcome.
Ownership is the least of their problems right now, if I'm going to be completely honest, because Dan Hilferty is now the face of Comcast for their ownership, and he is completely a part of what Jones and Briere are doing. So they are working as a cohesive unit. So Comcast is the least of the problems, and in this area, there's nobody that's going to be able to own a team like the Flyers right now. And if you say Joshua Harris, I got nothing for you, because look at what he's doing with the Sixers.
John followed up with, what stinks is the Flyers are taking all the fun out of hockey. For me, watching the Olympics was so much fun. It reminded me of my love for the sport. Well, here's the thing, though. It's hard to compare Olympic hockey to the Flyers because of the fact that you have the best players in the world all crammed into the same team. So you got talent on top of talent on top of talent. With the Flyers, it's a little bit more challenging because the talent is spread out in the NHL. So, you only got what you got, and you got to try and make the most out of that, and that's the hardest part of it, is that, you have 32 teams, 32 mouths to feed. And it's not like back in the day where you could just stuff a team full of all-stars and call it a day, and just try to shoot for the playoffs. So it's one of those things where, Flyers are trying to change with the times. They've been trying to change with the times for the better part of a decade now. And the salary cap really changed everything for this franchise. And they've never truly gotten great at that. Hell, Danny's the only one who's ever tried to circumnavigate this shit properly. And even he had to inherit bad contracts because he had no choice, because Fletcher did so much damage to the Flyers while he was in the front office. So you have a really challenging situation ahead of you. The Flyers were in a rough spot to begin with. There was a couple of talented players here, but other than that, you had older players that still had something left in the tank, but it wasn't enough to get you anywhere of substance at that time. So you're literally starting from nothing without starting from nothing, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
So it was not an easy situation to start off with for Danny. And so far, he's had to champion a lot of crap that he's had to deal with. And it's only really recently that he's actually had anything to work with in the last couple of years, really.
Yeah, and he really is at the he was in a terrible position when he took over, and I think, for all things considered, the fact that the Flyers have only missed 6 years, and that's the longest stretch they've missed the playoffs. First of all, it says a lot about how the organization is run, how they value the organization in the city, and how much they value putting a good product out on the ice. The fact that most of these other teams, Buffalo's breaking 15, 16, 17 years, something along those lines. Detroit is going to break a 17-year. I think Anaheim's breaking, I think the last time they were in was 2017. So they're going on 9 years. I mean, are we really complaining about a 5-year drought? I get it. It's frustrating because you want to playoff hockey. You want to bring as many championships to the city as you can. But there's a process to what Danny is doing right now, and it has to go a certain way. Now, he's not going to make deals to make deals, which is what I love. What's the sense in trading for a guy that may or may not even fit the system? And I agree. TK needed to see. Now it's tough when Fletcher gives these guys contracts that Danny's pretty much unable to move. The one thing I do respect is that the fact that he doesn't move on his price. This guy, I want this, and another. Oh, you're not going to give it to me? I'll find somebody else who will. Or I'll wait till the draft. Or I'm going to wait till the next trade deadline. The thing is like, I think, and I'll get more into this in the second half of the show here. I think a lot of people wanted to see Danny make splashes. This team is not, they're not there. They're just not there. They're not at that point yet. And yeah, I agree, Benny. It all starts at the center position. they're so weak at the center position right now. But the thing is, they have so much depth coming. It's going to take another year. Nesbitt is playing phenomenal in juniors. He's been so good. Jet has really upped his game since being traded. Martone needs to sign his ELC. Bump needs to. You need a little bit more than 2 games for Alex Bump to see what he's really made of. This team isn't in as bad shape as people think it is.
Well, yeah, they're not bottom feeders. I mean, they're not Vancouver. Vancouver is your perfect definition of that's a bottom feeding team right now. And that's a good point, Benny. You know, the problem was even the playoff teams were not built to compete for the cup. They were fringe playoff teams. That's a very good point. How many times did the Flyers get in on a 7th seed, 6th seed, 8th seed? And depending on who they drew in the first round, you were losing that series.
Yeah, but the upside to the cup playoffs is it's unpredictable.
That it can be, but it all depends.
Got to get in the dance. Give yourself a chance.
It depends sometimes, you know.
I should trademark that.
Yeah. We need a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I mean, they've had top 5 picks. How well has that worked out? Look at Nolan Patrick.
Nolan Patrick did not pan out.
Nolan Patrick's example number 1. Carter Gauthier,
who did not want to be in Philadelphia.
Didn't want to be in Philly.
Right.
Like it's just a matter of finding guys to fit. Like Martone is biting at the bit to get up here.
Right.
He can't wait to get up here.
Right. He says, why is Risto on this team? What a joke. Risto, I guess, whatever Danny's asking price was, it was something that the GMs didn't want. I'm sure he was shopping him out.
Oh, he was. His asking price, he wasn't budging on it.
Right.
Because they would still have control on that. I think the asking price was a first-round pick and a prospect.
Right.
And that's what he wanted. I think it was a mid-tier prospect too, so it didn't have to be high-end. But that's what he wanted. He didn't move on it, and I'm okay with it because Risto's been playing well for the Flyers.
Right. And I mean, at the same time, too, what's to say that there isn't going to be a deal given out in the offseason?
Right.
Because that can happen, too.
Exactly.
I mean, Danny even said it before the game against the Penguins. He said that they were talking to Anaheim a year and a half before the trade for Zegras happened.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? He may have very well just opened up some prospective trade partners with Risto that he may be able to finalize in the offseason. So that's something to think about there. I do agree, though, Greg. Risto was a horrible contract, and that was a terrible decision made. But Danny inherited that contract, and he had to do something with it, and he's had to deal with it since. That was a mistake on the Fletcher part. It was an error in judgment.
The last couple of years, over the span of going from Torts to Tocchet, Risto has really stepped up his defensive game.
And that's something also. Risto did get better as the contract went along. Now, is his play worthy of the high salary that he gets paid? No, I wouldn't say that. But I would say that he did get better as the contract moved along. Just that it was the length and the amount was a little ridiculous when he signed it. Mike's saying, I think Zegras gets an extension and stays in Philly. I definitely think so. Z's been like the best part of the season for the Flyers. Literally, he's been the best part of the season. Besides that, also he had a pick in the Brink deal. I don't
get a pick in the Brink deal.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Well, I think right now with that deal specifically, you have 2 relatively unproven players. I don't know how much value you could have gotten much more out of that. I mean, if realistically, big picture, if Yurchek winds up panning out to the player and the defenseman they think he's going to be, oh boy, did the Flyers fleece the Wild in that deal. So there's a lot of potentiality in this kid to essentially be another, I guess you can kind of say like a Chris Pronger, like half value of what he was. Big body, physical, massive shot from the point. If he can figure out the NHL game here, and I think I like our developmental system to kind of bring him up with Nick Schultz at the helm down there. I think if they can help him find his game, the Yurchek trade is going to just outvalue itself. There's a reason this kid was taken 6th overall.
Right, right. And then besides that, Mike's saying the Flyers are building a sandbox to eventually play in. Chris said hard disagree on Juracek on that one.
I think the potential's there. He's only 22 years old. Maybe he's not as big as Pronger, but he can definitely play. He can definitely play that style of game. That's essentially my point.
He said, who I loved going into his draft year.
You know me, Prez. I'm not giving up on a player just because he's 22 and he hasn't figured it out on 2 different organizations. Kid's 22 years old. He needs the right developmental team. I think the Flyers have it with Nick Schultz at the AHL level. Look at what he's doing. Look at what he's doing with some of the guys that are in that organization. Alex Bump, I think, was a 3rd or 4th round pick. Actually, that's a lie. I think that's a lie. He was higher than that. But regardless, he knows how to develop talent down there.
Either way,
though, a great job.
And either way, though, let's give it up for Alex Bump, too. Congratulations to him coming in and making his Flyers debut in Pittsburgh against the Penguins. What a way to make your debut. And he scored. So, You know what? Good on you. Like, all right. There you go, kid. Like, show me what you got. Friggin' put more of those goals in there. I was very pleased with Bump's debut for the Flyers on that one. So, you know what? If that is what we've got coming in our future, if Bump's going to be a part of it, I'm okay with that. That's a great way to make your debut for the Flyers.
100%. And he looked great. Like, he didn't even look like he was phased at all. Like, even when he was trying to find the open guy, putting himself in good position, defending the puck really well, boxing guys out. He was really good.
Yeah. Priz saying if he was going to be Pronger, he wouldn't be on his 3rd organization, but adding a 6'4", 200-pound right-hand defenseman is always an A+.
Pronger also didn't find his game until he was in St. Louis.
Yeah,
he didn't really become a household name until he left Hartford.
Yeah, he was drafted by Hartford.
To say that is kind of a moot point. Yeah, he's had an extra organization, but so some players don't find it right away. Jack Hughes took 4 years?
Well, even then, it's been
different position, different style of play. Like I get, that I understand. But like some players, they need a couple years to find it. I'm not worried about a 22-year-old who isn't even close to touching his prime yet.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where we'll see how it goes. It could be where Juracek turns into something that could be very important on the blue line. We don't know yet. I mean, obviously, I get it. Bobby Brink, guy had heart, guy had passion. He played his ass off. But again, you can't hold on to everybody. Log jams are forming. You got to make decisions. Sometimes you got to make tough ones. Like I said, loved Bobby, loved what he brought to the team. But hey, you know what? You got to make some tough choices. And that was one of those tough choices at the end of the day. You got to send him off. See what happens. I mean, hey, you had to move on from Frost and you had to move on from Farabee and send them both to Calgary. So
Farabee has not been good.
Yeah. And Frost has been okay out there, but nothing that I would say is like, oh God, the Flyers really screwed up on that one. I mean, but also Calgary in and of themselves hasn't exactly been a stellar product this year.
No, I mean, Scott Lawton looked really good for the Flyers, went to Toronto, and he basically became non-existent.
Yeah, although he's finding his game again in LA, so I think that says
I was
going to
say, we'll see how things go in Southern California for him.
Right. He's already got like 2 goals, and he's only been played like 3 games, I think. So it's like, yeah, I think he refound his love for hockey again, and all he had to do was get the hell out of Toronto.
Yeah.
But let's see here. That is a good point, though. Jack Hughes does get hurt a lot, which unfortunately, that's been the thing about the Devils anyways, that they just get hurt That's all they do is just get hurt. It's just been a roller coaster of injuries. At this point, they should change the Devils logo to the Red Cross at this point. But besides that, though, Flyers taking a tough loss to the New York Rangers, had a bad loss against the Mammoth. Did manage to pull off a nice win against the Penguins in a shootout. Trevor Zegras makes it look so fucking easy. And in the end of the day, we are now getting ready for the Flyers to take on the Capitals, a team that's right in the thick of it with them in the wild card race.
Mm-hmm.
And the Caps are coming off of a nice little win on top of it. So, they took advantage of taking out Calgary, a team that's been pretty bad this year. Fortunately, the Flyers couldn't do the same thing against the Rangers. So the question is that going to tell you everything you need to know? Well, hopefully not. Hopefully the Flyers got a surprise here against the Caps. I mean, finish off the season series strong. It'd be nice. But we'll see. However,
which is crazy to me, especially considering that the trade of John Carlson, they kind of you would think that they were probably selling a little bit, but I don't know. That might have lit a fire under the players' asses and got them going.
Maybe.
Washington hasn't looked bad since.
No, you're right. I mean, and to be fair, I think John Carlson, a good gut check guy, the kind of guy that you need in that locker room, who's gonna, he's gonna stand up and he's gonna fight for you and everything. And I don't mean he's gonna drop the gloves, but he's gonna stand there and he's gonna get the job done. And that's the kind of player that you definitely need on your team. So I get it. I get that it's kind of a message being sent in Washington saying like, hey, we're trading away a character guy. So I think you guys need to recognize right now, you guys need to step the fuck up.
Yeah, the game against Boston wasn't as good as the game against Calgary, but Washington is a team you can never sleep on because as long as they have Alex Ovechkin, they're always going to be a dangerous team. And even Tom Wilson, there's still a lot of talent on this team. There's a lot of young talent on this team as well. So
I mean,
they're gonna always be a battle, and it's a Metro Division battle for potential playoff spot or at least a potential thought at a playoff spot. So they're always going to be a lot nastier and a lot more physical.
Right. I mean, obviously, you have McMichael, who's been doing really well. There's a couple of other young pups who've been actually thriving in Washington right now. And I don't think they've been carrying the team, but they've definitely been a major part of the reason why Washington's been competitive is because there's been a slight bit of a youth movement going on in Washington, which is good news for them because obviously you can't rely on Ovechkin forever. God-given talent, the greatest goal scorer of all time, but, at some point he's going to have to hang him up. I don't know if he's going to anytime soon. He just seems to have the athleticism and the wind of a horse, so highly doubtful he will.
Don't worry, he'll be done at the end of the year.
Yeah.
He's gonna go play. He's gonna go play a couple years in Russia and then hang him up for good.
Yeah,
I'm so happy that he's gonna finally be out of the NHL after this year. It's time to let somebody else, step up and be an icon in Washington. And I think that kid's going to be Ryan Leonard.
Yeah, that was another one of the youth that.
Protas is another good one.
Yeah. Yeah, and Priz made a good point. Protas was a godsend for the Caps. You're not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, 21 goals so far this year. He's fourth on the team in scoring. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, Washington, say what you will, while they've been competitive, they seem to have found some youth that they've been able to inject into the lineup. So, when the time comes for Washington to kind of retool or what have you after Ovechkin's era is officially done, may not be as hard for them as it would be for another team. So Washington may have been thinking a few steps ahead and got to give them credit for that at the end of the day.
Looking at the game, since we're previewing the Capitals right now, looking at the goal scoring for the Washington Capitals right now, I feel like their scoring is down. I feel like their offensive numbers are down. And I know, like, taking Ovechkin out of the conversation, I just feel like the offense just isn't where it typically is. I feel like the scoring numbers are usually higher for their goal scorers, and their leading goal scorer right now is Tom Wilson, tied with Ovi, but it's only 24 goals to this point.
That is pretty down for them. But I mean, that was inevitable. When you have aging talent and you have a team that still has some youth that's just starting to really find their way in the NHL, I would have to think the scoring would go down a little bit. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, I don't think that's drastic because of the standard of the fact that it's Ovechkin. So I could see where that would be a drastic turn down. But
Mhm.
at the same time, though, I mean, it was gonna be inevitable that the scoring was gonna go down for Washington at some point.
Yeah, and even like I said, Ovechkin out of the conversation. You look at Tom Wilson. I guess he's on par for what he's doing, but I don't know. Maybe it's just not. I'm like used to not seeing TJ Oshie in there, and I'm still not used to not seeing Backstrom up there. It just everything kind of just feels off. You know what I mean? It just maybe the numbers aren't as low as I think they are because those guys aren't in the lineup anymore. Those guys are retired.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be that. Maybe it's more spread out amongst the other players, and that's what it is. That
Could be.
maybe they all picked up a little bit more of the slack with the lack of Oshie and Backstrom. It might
I
just be
mean,
something like that.
that's what it looks like. I mean, Jacob Chikrin is leading the defense with 22 goals. Alexei Protas is at 21. Dylan Strome 16. Justin Sourdiff at 13. Ryan Leonard 12. Ethan Frank 12. Like, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just more spread out than it is top heavy like it has been in the past because these young guys are coming in and handling their business.
Right. Um. So with the game coming up against the Flyers on tomorrow, how do we feel this game will go? Do we think that the Flyers, as I said before, do they ante up here after having a absolutely abysmal performance on Monday against the New York Rangers? Or do the Capitals come in and dunk on the Flyers and take $20 on the way out and 2 points?
Well, I think in some ways the Flyers are going to get bullied a little bit because it's Tom Wilson and Tom Wilson bullies everybody. But this has got to be a gut check win for the Flyers. They have to figure out a way to respond after a loss like that, and to get embarrassed on home ice the way that they did. They
Twice.
really, yeah, they really cannot afford to get beat on home ice again. The way that they did. They have to come out, they have to answer, and they have to set the tone. They have to. I mean, if I'm Mitch Kopp, I'm going out there with like a man on a mission,
Hmm.
and I'm going to put as many pucks on net as I possibly can.
Hmm.
If I'm TK, I'm doing the same thing. These guys have to find an attitude for tomorrow night, and they have to play with it. They
They
have
do.
to play with that attitude the rest of the year.
Right.
Regardless of if they're going to be a playoff team or not, they have to finish the season the way that they started.
There's another thing too that I think is important as well. They need to get that snarl back because this is that time of the year where you need it the most. They
Yeah.
had it at the beginning of the year. It's like I'm great. It's great that I saw that at the beginning of the year because you need that. But now all of a sudden,
Benny.
Daryl Dawkins. uh, but yeah, I definitely think that they need to get that snarl going because it's like, okay, you are facing division opponents. These are your rivals. These are the guys that when you face them, you need to hate them. You need to absolutely despise them. You have to hate that red and white and red and blue jersey that the Caps are wearing. You have to hate the red, white, and blue of the blue shirts. You have to despise the black and gold of the Penguins. You have to be disgusted at the sight of the black and red of the Devils. You have to take that snarl and look at them and say, "I want to kill you so that I can win." You have to have that mentality. If you don't have that mentality, you don't win games
Yeah.
at the end of the day, especially this time of the year. Maybe that's something they're learning on the fly, that they have no snarl at this moment and they need to have it right now. Because if they don't, you don't get in.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have it now for the regular season, how the fuck do you plan on winning a cup without it?
You can't. I mean,
You
you need
can't.
that snarl,
You-
especially against again a team that's in your division that's ahead of you in the standings.
yeah, absolutely. So Flyers need to come in and they need to say, you know what? What happened against the Rangers was bullshit. And tonight, all the frustration we have with that, we're taking it out on them. If I see Ovi, I'm putting his ass through the boards. I don't care if he's the best goal scorer of all time and he's an elderly statesman of the game. I'll fucking chip his ass right through the glass. Tom Wilson, I'll bury his ass 6 feet under if he gets in my way. The Flyers
Mhm.
have to go into this game with that fucking attitude. They have to, or the Caps are going to come in and bust one in their ass. That's as
Oh,
simple as that.
that's a little more than Daryl Dawkins in it.
Listen, I'm just telling you how you got to have that mentality. That killer instinct's got to come in at some point. Flyers got to develop it big time now. They got
Um,
to. They got to make those forebears proud that they wore this jersey.
yeah, they have to. They definitely need a shot in the ass because again, this is TK's tired of losing. The
Mm-hmm.
effort the last two of the last three games has been awful.
Mediocre at
You
best.
want to at best. I wouldn't even say even at best. It's just been a piss poor effort. I mean, it was nice to see them respond in Pittsburgh, but you got to respond to these Metro Division games. Like this is the majority of what you're seeing. The rest of the schedule is all teams within your division. There's a little under a month left in the season. We got it. If they want any, if they want to figure out a way to get back to the playoffs this year, which again I don't think it's happening if you're just joining us. You have to figure out a way to start winning some of these games. It's gut check time. As Robbie would say, it's time to check that intestinal fortitude
Mm-hmm.
and figure out ways to win these games. Find that finish and finish the games.
Right. So we know what the Flyers have to do. The question is, will they do it? Also, I want to say too, I feel really bad for Dan Vladar because I think he's really tired. I think all of this hockey is starting to catch up to him because he's letting in
100%.
he's letting in shots that he was not letting in earlier on. I'm like, oh no, Vladar's starting to wear out,
Yeah,
and this is what happens.
yeah. I mean, he played through the Olympics for the most part. I think he played just about every game of the Olympics.
Pretty much.
Maybe not a game or two, but he played the majority of them, I believe. And then he's coming right back into the starter's role. Sam Harrison had pretty much the entire break, and then played well against Boston. Was it Boston when they came back?
Yes, it was Boston.
It was either when they came back or just before. But anyway,
no, Rangers.
Rangers. You're right. And then it hasn't really had much of a break. Harrison hasn't really shown this season that he can be the guy that can be relied on as a guy who can start every couple of days and keep your goalie fresh. But I mean, that defense against the Rangers was, as Sean Couturier put it in the post game, is he flat out awful, just flat out awful. All of them. It wasn't even more guys. All six of them.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna bring us attention over to Mr. Captain. What the fuck are you doing then? Seriously, what the actual fuck are you doing right now? Like, you say the defense is awful. Can you help?
Oh no, he said the team in general.
Oh, well then.
Yeah, it was the team in general.
Okay, the team in general sucks.
Yeah, I'm specifying.
Okay, team in general sucks. Guess what, Coots? You're the captain of this motherfucker. What are you doing to help?
He scored the goal.
Yeah, well, he did one thing right. One thing right. What about everything else? What about everything else? It's like, you're the captain, dude. Like, and it shouldn't take this kind of a game for you to actually contribute. You were kind of invisible against Pittsburgh, and you were invisible before then against the Mammoth. You've been invisible multiple times this season. That's a real problem I'm having with him right now.
It's like he's playing third and fourth line minutes right now, Matty.
And that is a huge problem if he's wearing the C. I'm not giving him no fucking break. You're not one of these young kids learning the game. You ain't Mitchkov, who made a mistake, and he's 21 years old. You're a fucking veteran. I don't give a fuck what injuries you've had. I don't give a fuck what you're bitching about. You're wearing the goddamn C. Fucking show us that you deserve the fucking C. Because I ain't seen it yet, buddy. I ain't seen shit from you. I've seen a shit ton from TK. I've seen a shit ton from Tippett, even if he ain't accurate, but I at least see it. It's like, where the fuck is that from you? I used to see it all the time. And that's why I was happy you had the C. Why the fuck did it disappear all of a sudden? Well, you got it and now you don't feel like you need to work for anything anymore? Go fuck yourself. Fucking prove that you belong with that C. So if anyone's getting some ire today, it's that motherfucker right now. Pick your fucking game up. Step the fuck up. You wear the fucking C. You lead this fucking team. Where's your fucking leadership? Where's your nuts at? Did they disappear when that C went on your jersey? Because I think they fucking did. I got nothing for you except fucking step up. That's all I want from you. That's all I want from you, Coots. I don't want anything else from you. Show me you still got something in the tank. Because if you don't, that C needs to come right the fuck off and go to somebody else who fucking deserves it at the end of the day. That's all I got to say. That's the only rant I feel like that needs to go out right now is that. Because everybody else has tried. Do they always show up? No. And I can get mad at them for that. And I do. But you're the motherfucker who's supposed to lead by example.
I agree with Benny. He's done. He's not an offensive juggernaut like he was. I'm not saying that he's soft, but his best scoring days are behind him, and he's better off being the third, fourth line guy that's going to play more defensive roles, win defensive zone faceoffs, and just be that guy.
All right.
I mean, maybe he doesn't deserve to see, and maybe that's not captain material, but I mean.
But here's the thing, though.
The offensive numbers are just not what they want to be anymore.
And if he didn't want to see, then he needed to make that known. He needed to make that known. I understand that you don't want to seem like you're being against the squad. I understand that you want to show that you got pride and everything, and you want to show that you can be a big level player. I get that. But here's my problem. When you're wearing the C, that adds so much more to what you do. Even on his worst days, even in his worst games, G still showed the fuck up. He still wasn't invisible. Yes, there were games where the Flyers were absolute fucking garbage. But you know who found a way to actually contribute on the score sheet? He did. Even in terrible games, he did. Even if he was getting pissed the fuck off going off in French and trying to murder somebody, which he got suspended for multiple times. My point is that he still did something. He still showed something at the end of the day. He had that desire. And if you didn't want to see, then don't take it. Let someone else have it. Be honest with yourself, if more so than the team.
I don't think he had much of a choice.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he was pressured into it. And if that's the case, I'm sorry that he had gotten pressured into it. Then I blame the organization for that, for not thinking about this and not clearly assessing the team properly like they should. And maybe you need to then rethink that and realize, oh, we were way too hasty of giving that C out. Yes, you were. You were way too hasty of giving that out. And that was after a full season of not having one. Maybe you needed to wait another year. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Just, I know I went on a big tirade right there. It's been a minute since I've done it. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's just really frustrating because it's like, I see the teams playing with a lack of spirit. And it's like, if there's one person who should be trying to get this team going, it's him. And it takes more than just a goal. It takes you being that voice in the fucking locker room and being that leader at the end of the day. That's all there is to it.
Sorry, I just saw Benny's last comment.
And it's like, and Priz saying, I blame Coots for Lawton not being a lifetime Flyer and the captain. I mean, Superman, hey, listen, I love Soups too, but I don't know. He still might have wound up leaving. Benny's saying he was afraid. He was so afraid of the sea. He wants to be known as Oots. That's hilarious.
I don't know. I knew coming into this season that his offensive numbers were probably not going to be anywhere close, and his injuries are probably a big reason why he's not the offensive guy that he was in the past. And I don't know if it's a fear thing. I don't know what's in his head, but if he can continue to be the defensive player that he is, he's fine. But I think I'm with you in the part where he needs to lead by example in some way, shape, or form. He's not showing it, but I don't know if comparing him to Claude Giroux is fair, because I don't necessarily think even in their heyday, neither one of those guys were the same style of player.
All right, good
He
point.
was very more skill oriented, as where Sean Couturier is more the power forward.
Good point. I was only comparing because
I know.
G had the captain right before
No,
him.
I got you. I get it.
Okay, then how about this? Maybe Coots could have been more like a captain, like a Keith Primo. Primo was not a goal scorer, but you know what Primo was? He was an energy guy. That guy would go out there and would make you fucking believe that you can get the job done at the end of the day. Doesn't matter what kind of game it was.
Yes.
Flyers could be down 3-0, and we're in the third period with 5 minutes left, and Primo is still going out there and busting his ass at the end of the day. You know?
I like that. That's a much better comparison, because I see more so now than earlier in his career before the injuries. I see more of that side of Sean Couturier, and that side's always been there, but I think it's a little bit more obvious now because he's not scoring 30 goals a year. So now you're seeing a little bit more of it. So I love the Primo example, and I'm with you 100%. Bring the energy. Like I don't know if he's just hesitant because he doesn't want to hurt himself again, or what the deal is, but he is not the same Couturier that he used to be.
And I get that. I understand you don't want to keep getting hurt and everything, but you know what? Primo got hurt all the time too. Like, there were years where he didn't even scratch 80 games or even 70. There were years he only was doing 60 games because he was getting hurt all the time. How many concussions did Primo have? And I'm not saying you play through concussions anymore. Obviously, that's a thing in the past, and thank God for it. But Primo played through what, 3-4 concussions that he had in his career, and that was even before he got to the Flyers.
Yeah.
So I'm saying is, like, I get it, man. You've had injury problems, but dude, like, that fear can't be the one holding you back. It's like you have a bigger responsibility to the team. And if you can't do that responsibility, fine. It doesn't mean that I hate you. It doesn't mean that I don't want you to wear the crest. I just don't wear the C then. That's all. Just don't wear the C. Let someone else have it. Let someone take that responsibility off your shoulders. And maybe that'll be better for you. Maybe it'll be better for him if that's the case. Less responsibility, but still an important role. Desjardins did it. He only was captain for a year. And then C went off him.
He did.
Yeah, he was only captain for a year.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. He was much better just being the A, being in charge of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And took the C off of him, and it went to Primo after that. Made sense. It made sense. So anyway, enough about that. I know I went on a little bit of a tirade. And Chris saying, I was always told Browning up, if you're playing scared, you're not playing a game, you're surviving yourself. At that point, the game is over for you. And that's a very good point, Priz, and I think that's essentially what we're saying here.
I've never heard it phrased that way, but I do like it. And I think it's spot on. It's spot on to exactly what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, growing up. There you go. That's what he meant. But anyway, so let's talk about the deadline stuff before we finish this one up. By the way, the Islanders just won their game against who were they playing?
Blues.
That's right. Oh, well, what are you going to do? The Blues they were sellers anyway. So
more importantly, Anaheim's up 3-1 at the second break. So
well, there you go.
I'm just going to throw that one out there.
Oh,
Ryan Palin's got 2 points.
Who they playing?
Winnipeg.
Oh, well, there you go. Take advantage of a team that's struggling.
Well, it's even more so taking advantage of it because it's none of the None of the top guys are scoring. It's Killorn, it's Paling, and Tim Washy.
Damn. See, now you know. See, I gotta say, the Ducks are just having a phenomenal year right now. And you know that they're having a great year when the guys who don't normally score are just crushing it as well. You know your team's having a good year when that's happening. But
I think trading Paling was a mistake for the Flyers, but that's my opinion. He's just playing. He's played so well in a couple years that he was with the Flyers. Flyers should have just held on to him and re-signed him. I think he would have been a really
yeah,
piece of this team taking the next step for them moving forward.
I could agree on that.
I
Yeah.
love having Zegras. Since we're talking trades, I love having Zegras. I think the Zegras trade made sense for the Flyers. Just giving up Paling just hurt.
Right. There could have been, yeah, they probably should have figured out something else on what to send back. But anyway, Benny's saying Edgar Allan Priz over here.
Yeah.
So trade deadline wise, speaking of trades, Flyers moving on from Bobby Brink was obviously one of them. There were a few other deals as well that the Flyers made. Some were minor league, but others of them were not. Some of them were actually bringing in a few players here and there, but nothing that I would say was a big splash. I think the biggest thing that happened was
The
pretty
Brink deal.
yeah, it was pretty much Brink. There really wasn't anything else that major, which
Yeah.
I mean, I figured that was what was going to happen because Danny's not trying to do anything flashy. So, I mean, honestly, I don't really disagree with any of the deals he made. Sure, I'll miss Brink, but I mean, again, I would expect on that team, Brink's probably going to be what, third line,
Yeah, he was
most
the odd man
likely.
out. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
the odd man
so
out. I mean, which sucks because I like Brink.
yeah,
I would have loved to hold on to him, but the way again we talked about this. Well, I talked about this a little bit earlier. There's such a logjam at right wing right now that it's really more hurting and hindering this organization. So you're not moving Michkov. Tippett probably didn't get moved because there was a lot of, I guess, speculation on the return, and Boston was the only team that really seemed interested. You're not moving TK. But the good thing about TK and Tippett, you can move them to the left side. They can play both ways. So that's going to open up spots there. Now you got more tone coming up. You have Bump coming up. People are demanding Michkov go back to the right side, which
he has.
Which I'm always going to say, if you could play the right side, you can play the left side. It's just a preference.
Well,
the only thing is everything is mirrored. And yeah, you're more comfortable on the right side. The left side can be tricky first. But if you look at his stats offensively were not great on the left side, but he was also better defensively on the left side.
Well, then it might be one of those things, and I'm just realizing NHL and TNT has Tuukka Rask on there. Anyway,
that must be new.
Yeah, he's literally. It's like, oh shit, it's Tuukka.
Anyway, players at random up there for some reason.
They do. I was just like, oh hey, it's Tuukka. Hey, yeah. Hey, I haven't seen you in a minute. How you doing? Anyway, so the point is that you could almost then strategize this a little bit. And hear me out. This might be a little bit over coaching or over analyzing it, but if you're Tocchet, and if I was Tocchet, I might try to do this strategically. If the left side you play better defensively, but you play more better offensively on the right side, maybe interchange it. And what I mean by that is it's like, okay, we're doing fine offensively. We need a stronger hold defensively right now. Maybe put them on the left side. When you need some offensive flair and you need to get the things going in the right direction on that and get some scoring chances, put them on the right. Maybe doing it strategically might be the answer to that. And it could be where it's like,
the game.
Yeah. Maybe that might be the best way to coach that.
Because I do like the idea of him being as young as he is, learning the left side, because it's just going to make things better for him, give him more versatility, be able to give him more minutes. Especially when you have guys like Martone, Bump, you still have to worry about Tyson Forster because he's going to be back next year. He's a right winger. There's such a logjam. You have to figure out a way because not all these guys aren't going to get top 6 minutes. Mitchkov is a guy who deserves top 6 minutes, and he needs them. And if he can't get him on right wing, he's got to get him somewhere.
Well, what about Forster? What maybe they could switch him to the left?
The Forster can play center, so
Maybe
if
he's
need
okay.
be, I think they can put him at center. But I'd rather see him on the right wing because of his shot.
Mm.
You put him on the right,
Well,
he's got to be. Yeah, he's got to be on the wing with how heavy his shot is.
well, yeah, that's going to be a challenge. I mean, you'd have to get real creative play wise if you were to put him center and then try to still have him be able to take that shot. You'd have to get real creative with your passing. And the Flyers have gotten caught multiple times trying to get way too pass happy in their zone. That could prove to be a problem real quick with Forster.
I mean, if you're still looking at it, like as long as like we're talking like right wingers, like natural right wingers, TK, Mitchkov, Tipper, Martone, Forster. You got 5 right there. However, like I said, with TK, you can play on the left side if he has to. Tipper, I think, is more comfortable on the left side, so you can theoretically throw him to the left side, and then you still open up those spots for TK or for Martone and Forster. And then again, even throw Bump into the mix too. That's guys that would kind of fill those that 4. But again, not saying that this is a bad thing, but having this surplus of right wingers in turn can wind up being very beneficial come the draft because people are going to want to make trades. I think the Flyers have 1 first-round pick this year and 2 next year. If you can move the pick next year with one of these right wingers, and I would probably try and say Tippett, go out and try and get a center at the draft.
You could do that.
That would be my thing is like, see, because I feel like depending on the pick and depending on where players are and where teams are, like the Flyers are obviously, I think they're going to have a top 15 pick. I think they're going to be in the lottery this year. You can find yourself a nice center to potentially move and hopefully fill a void there and open up another spot for a Bump or a Martone. Like obviously I would say Tippett would be the odd man out for me now, as much as I love him. But I'm with you, Benny. They need another 200-foot player.
Yeah. All right. I mean, the idea of trading for a center at the draft might actually be a good idea. I mean, again, who knows? Maybe Danny's already had conversations about this during the trade deadline and it just couldn't get done during the deadline. So maybe there might be something in the works that we don't know about, possibly sitting there for the draft or for some other time in the off season, possibly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I agree with that comment, Benny, top to bottom.
yeah, saying that yes, you would like a 200-foot player, but you let this guy play his game, and if this guy gets caught up ice from time to time, but he is creating more offensive chances, you deal with it. And yeah, and I definitely think that you still play to Mitchkov's strength. I just think that if offensively the Flyers are having a game and they're just in really good shape offensively, then you could try to say like, all right, let's see what happens on the left and see what we can do on that. And that way you're not putting him in an at-risk situation as badly as you would be had it been where, okay, this is a 2-1 hockey game.
Damn.
We need a goal.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Mitch, he's on his right and he's staying on his right. Someone else is moving left. I don't give a shit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If that means that Tipper, you're going left and you're dealing with it, then so be it.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, Tippett. I feel like he's able to utilize his speed better off the left side. Similar to how Mitchkov does it on the right. I mean, I get it. I like having these guys have the versatility. So especially these top end guys, so you can figure out ways to mix things up and keep things interesting for these defenses. Because if you start, you can have Mitchkov on the left wing during games, and then on the power play, have him on the right. Sometimes you don't know what to do.
Yeah, try to trip them up. I get it.
But yeah, anyway, back to trades.
Yeah. So, trade deadline wise, I mean, honestly, besides that, not really much else to note. I mean, the Flyers did have a minor league deal. Besides that, they traded a few picks away.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I would say that Danny was just keeping things pretty much where we need to move a player out so that we can free up a spot for a younger player. And that's pretty much what he did. He didn't go out to
Yeah.
try and find a veteran. And I think that was the right decision to make.
Agreed.
Um, don't go grab a guy that is ready to compete now, because it's like, well, first off, the Flyers are, they can't even, they're struggling to even get into a playoff spot. So it's like, you can't, how are you going to convince somebody? It's like, oh yeah, yeah, perfect. And I mean, we just saw that. I
Yeah.
mean, Rob Thomas, I mean, albeit though in a weird way, no, not him. Kairu, was it Kairu or Pareko?
Yeah. Colton
Pareko,
Parayko.
there we go. I don't know why I was thinking Cairo, but Pareko nixed the deal with Buffalo, which is weird because Buffalo's in such a good spot right now. But hey, you know what? I'm sure he had his reasons.
Yeah.
Um,
He wants to stay on the West Coast.
that's true. Thomas did too, and that's why no trade in the East happened there.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, I get it. And I get too that the conferences are different. So they're different playing, different vibes, different playoff atmosphere. Sometimes you get comfortable with playing out west, where you just, I don't want to go to the East, and I get it. It's very different, and the way I like to say it is, I think in the West, I don't want to say that everything's lenient out there, but I feel like there's a little bit more leniency, as opposed to when you're in the East, it's expected of you to be this, 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 and that immediately right off the bat. That's how I feel about that. And maybe that's me being a little unfair to some of the other franchises that are in more, I guess, exotic locations. But I just feel like there's not as much of a microscope as there
Yeah.
is with other markets.
Depends on where you are.
Yeah.
100%. I think there's definitely more of a spotlight on the East, more of the like Metro Division specifically, but there's definitely some spotlights out in the West as well. But I mean, if you look at the trade deadline, look at some of the moves that were made. There were a couple shockers, but if you look at the main targets that everybody was looking at, nobody got moved. Kadri, I think, was probably the only guy on that main list that I would say was in the top, we'll say 12. He was the only one that got moved. So Risto didn't get moved. Thomas didn't get moved. Pareko didn't get moved. Just to name a couple off the top of my head because I'm not looking at the list right now. But it goes to show you that teams are asking certain things for players and they're not moving on their price points, which I like. Get value for what you can get value for. If you're not going to get that value, don't trade them. Hold on to them. It makes no sense to trade a guy for less value than you believe that he is worth. And I think that's a part of the reason why the trade with Robert Thomas didn't happen to Buffalo was because what St. Louis was asking for, they didn't want to give up. And I don't
Right.
blame them. Montreal didn't want to give up what was his name? Michael Hage didn't want to give him up. Like they wanted a team's top prospect. He's not worth that. So, a tip of the cap to Doug Armstrong for, keep asking for players, but know the value of your player and just don't give them away. And I think that's what happened with Danny and Risto. He knows what his value is right now. He's seeing what these guys are going for. John Carlson at 36 years old just went for a first and a third.
Which is a little crazy.
Um, so, and he has no term left. Risto at least has term left. So the team's going to have a little bit more control. So I like what Danny did. I think it's a good start. I think there's going to be more done at the draft, and it's all going to come down to what happens with Martone and with where I think they're going to go in the draft. If he signs his ELC when the collegiate year is done, I think that changes the draft board for themselves.
Yeah.
Does he trade the trade board? No, I don't think he changes the trade board, but it changes the dynamic of the team.
So my question then is, after the deadline, after the deals that were made, minor or not, did you feel like playoff picture wise, do you feel like any team specifically got better to the point where you might say, okay, they just upped their chances of winning a cup?
Colorado getting Kadri, I think is one of them. I want to say Minnesota definitely upped their game up a little bit, bringing in Brink and Foligno. Just from a locker room standpoint for Foligno, bringing both brothers together, I think that's definitely going to create a little bit of a spark. And I think Anaheim definitely up their chances with adding John Carlson, who's probably having one of the better years he's had in the last couple of years at 36 years old. So those are like my top three that I'm thinking of deals off the top of my head. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, Tampa Bay pretty much just, cemented that they're going to lose the Stanley Cup final this year by trading for Corey Perry.
He's actually back in Tampa. This is his second stint there.
Still not going to get it done because it's Corey Perry.
I was still funny because he scored too. Like in his first game back in Tampa, I'm like, my God, like what the hell?
Yeah, a lot of guys scored their first points with their new teams, which I thought was kind of crazy. Dallas had another one. I like the addition of Tyler Myers. They need a little help on defense. I definitely think Dallas had a good trade deadline as well. But yeah, those are really the teams that really jump out at me. Nobody else. I mean, Islanders, I think, did really well to trade deadline, picking up Braden Shen. So it really helps their power play, and I think they're going to give a little bit of a push for maybe the division. I don't know how close you are to the top. I'm not looking at the standings right now.
Well, here, I'll take a quick gander. Priz was saying NHL history, by the way. Was that for Dallas?
What was the history? I don't know if I missed it or not.
Let's see here. Let's take a look at the standings for the division, for the Metro here.
Yeah, they're 9 points out, so they have a shot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, they're tied with Pittsburgh right now. I mean, there
you go, Maddie.
Okay. Nice. All right.
That's crazy.
I think, well, that comment right there, we should send that to Gary Bettman. He would be so proud. But no, it's all seriousness though. Hey, congrats to Tyler Myers for being a Texas-born Texas boy, getting a chance to play for his Dallas Stars. You know what? Good on you. So yeah, with the trade deadline having come and gone, honestly, what's funny? Everybody's talking about Buffalo right now and how dangerous Buffalo's looking.
They had a good deadline too.
They did, but I'm going to say this right now, and I know some people might think I'll be ragging on the Sabres because I don't like them. It's not that. I'm taking that and being objective here. I always feel like a hot team going into the playoffs, like they're hot for that really great stretch into the playoffs and maybe even through the first round. I don't know. Maybe it's because of their history. I just feel like at some point it's gonna fall. Like at some point they're gonna get cold. It happens to every team that gets real hot during the latter portion of the season. Sometimes you ride a hot goalie and that's a different story, but I don't think it's a goalie in this case for Buffalo. I just think it's the whole team in general. I don't know.
Hat trick for Jack Quinn tonight, so good for him.
Great for him. I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like if they run into the wrong team, that stops them. Like it can actually handle them. It's like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe it's because it'll be their first time in the playoffs again, and I'm always skeptical when you're back into the playoffs for the first time. It's like, well, when you get back in for the first time, you're going to lose at some point, and you're going to disappoint somehow. That's just how it works. It can't all be Vegas where you just show up for the first time and go all the way to the final.
I
you
mean,
know?
it's tough because they're one of the best home teams in the NHL this year, and if they remain in a 1 or 2 seed right now, as far as the Atlantic Division goes, they're going to get that home ice, and they are very tough to play in Buffalo.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like, well maybe they run into Carolina.
I don't. I honestly, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think Buffalo's for real. I think what we're seeing is this team finally finding that fire that they've been missing, and I think it really stemmed from um, firing Kevin Adams as their GM, and they finally was just like, hey, listen, we need to start putting things together here. Um, and they have, and they're getting good goaltending. They're getting really good defense. They're getting good play off their special teams. I don't think there's a team right now, and obviously, playoffs are a different animal. We know this. We've been doing the show for 11 years. It will be 11 years in June, but we've been doing the show for a long time. We see it. The playoffs is just a different animal. The Buffalo Sabres may be a team that's either going to be like the Columbus Blue Jackets a few years ago, go on a magical run and fall short, or they could be like the Columbus Blue Jackets of last year, play a first round and be out in the
Right.
first round. We
Right.
don't know. My crystal ball's in the shop right now, so I can't really look at it. So
But
it's I get where you're coming from, because you're right on. Going into the playoffs as hot as they are is either going to hurt them or it's really going to help them.
right, it's very feast or famine with that kind of situation, you know. And Priz is saying Sabres are going to be the Cubs slash Red Sox. If a person's team isn't in it, I feel like they cheer for the Sabres. Yeah, there is the bandwagon team. And then they say, like, I feel like they'll cheer for the Sabres and they'll have or slash get the sympathy fans this year. I could
Yeah.
see it only because Buffalo hasn't won a cup. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm always looking for the one team that's no one's thinking about, because that's always the team that winds up spoiling shit for everybody at the end of the day.
Oh, Brent
And
has his first goal.
as Wild, well, congrats
Yeah,
for him. But
he did it on home ice too. Good for him. It was so weird
nice.
seeing him in green.
But I'm gonna say, as crazy as it sounds, in the West, I'm looking at a team that might very well be a pain in the ass to get rid of and may not be fun to face. I'm thinking Utah might actually go on a run.
I could see it.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm looking at that team. I'm like, this team is a nightmare to play against. Like, and that's not just from watching them play the Flyers and crushing them. I mean, actually seeing them play other teams. I'm like, damn, this
Yeah.
team is a nightmare to go up against. They've got some stud puppies there. Their
Mm-hmm.
goaltending is solid.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
North got 30 wins.
right. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to be facing Utah. I don't give a shit if you're a fan of Colorado or if you're a fan of this guy or that guy. It's like, I don't want to face the Mammoth this year in the playoffs.
I mean,
I
they're losing
really
4-0
don't.
right now.
Well, maybe they are, but
But your point, I get your point. They could definitely be a dangerous team, and they went out and acquired Mackenzie Weegar at the trade deadline. Well, before the trade deadline, but it's they're putting it together, and this is a team that finally has ownership that's going to put money into this organization and money into this team. They finally have something motivational to fight for. So this is just, they could absolutely be a dark horse in the playoffs.
yeah. So that's my feeling on it. I feel like if there's going to be a team to really watch out for, it's them. And then as for the dominant teams, I mean, I expect them to, as Prism says, I mean, the Central is murder's row,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not wrong. And Priz saying they are scary and dangerous, and yeah, they're a type of team that's relentless, and those are scary teams to go up against in the playoffs. And also, they got nothing to lose. They get in. It's their first time getting in as Utah. And that's
Mm-hmm.
even more terrifying because you are playing with house money big time on that. No expectations on you, no pressure whatsoever. You're just like, I'd hate to be a team with all the pressure on them this year. And honestly, that's why I'm not picking Minnesota, because I feel like Minnesota's got a shit ton of pressure on them. I really do feel like they do. And that's not fair to them, but I feel like it is. That's my feeling on Minnesota,
I mean,
honestly.
yeah. I mean, I can see it, but this is a team that they're investing so much money in, and Bill Guerin now, I think the team that he put together for the Olympics added a bit more pressure to Minnesota. So I could definitely see where you're coming from there, but I think the reason they go out and get a guy like a Nick Foligno is
Right.
for that purpose, and the purpose of being able to settle the team down and be like, listen, boys, this is what we got to do here. We got to settle the nerves. It's just another game. Like, he knows what to do. He's been around for a long time. I believe he has a ring with somebody. I can't remember who he would have won it with, but
Foligno?
yeah, maybe Boston. The year they won it, was he with the Bruins at that point? But
Let me double check it.
yeah, I mean, point being is they went out and I think they got some character guys to bring into the locker room to kind of help them settle things down and make the noise a lot less noisy from the outside. So I definitely agree with you to the aspect that there's definitely some pressure there.
Now, Foligno did not win a cup, but he does have a King Clancy for 2016 and 17 and a Messier Leadership Award. So that adds a hell of a lot
Okay.
of what you just said right there.
So the Clancy, I believe, is the Eastern Conference, right?
No, that's the Prince of Wales Trophy.
The Prince of Wales. So the Clancy's. So when he went to the Stanley Cup final, he went with the West team.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the Campbell.
Is it the Campbell? What was the
Yeah.
plan? Oh, I'm tired. It all sounds the same.
It's all right.
Doesn't change my point.
It's still a leadership award. That's essentially what the King Clancy is. So it's basically Messier and King Clancy. It's the same type of award. Is you winning the
Yeah.
type of situation, and
Yeah, that too.
the pressure is to keep Quinn Hughes happy.
Yeah. That's a
But
lot of
anyway,
pressure right there. To the guy who sees ghosts on the ice.
ooh, Natchez is hunched over. He's going to the Colorado bench right now in pain. What the hell happened to
Good.
him? Oh,
I-
he took a puck right to the face. That would
No.
do it.
That hurts.
Yeah, that would do it.
That hurts.
It boinked off the boards and hit him right in the cheek. Anyway,
You've been there.
so
Fortunately, I wear a cage when I play, so
that helps.
Mhm.
But anyway, so
it's still scary when it's coming at your face, though.
well, yeah. I mean, nobody wants a rubber puck that's not hollow to hit them.
Yeah,
It would.
basically. Think of it as like if you've ever been hit by a lacrosse ball, but worse because the pucks are frozen.
Yeah. Either way, it's not a fun time. But I mean that explains why goalies are as crazy as they are. So it's like,
Yeah,
please,
pretty much.
as Goldberg said, doesn't that sound stupid to anybody else? Anyway, so trade deadline wise, a lot of crazy moves happening. Some players returning to a former team. Corey Perry, we talked about, Nazem Kadri. Yeah, it'll be real interesting to see. Hopefully, Kadri doesn't shoot his mouth off and get his team eliminated like he did the 1 year.
Not with
But
Toronto.
no, he was playing with Colorado and he mouthed off about St. Louis, and then the Blues beat him.
Oh, right. I was thinking of a whole nother situation.
Yeah, it's like I don't know why the fuck he thought that was a good time, because the Avalanche had the lead in the series. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Kadri? You're literally just giving them fuel.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
I completely. Yeah, I mixed up two situations. You had a situation in Toronto too. I think during the playoffs.
It was a
Or maybe
hit.
it might have been during the regular season. I can't remember which one, but
No, I think it was the playoffs. You were right. He did a nasty hit, which I mean, Kadri's done it so many times at this point. It's like you make trading cards of his hits, but
yeah, because I think somebody said he hit somebody, then there was a racial slur, and then somebody
yes,
said something to him in a post game, threw a water bottle or something along.
Yeah,
Don't
he
remember
was
the entire
messed
story,
up.
but I don't know if that
Yeah.
was. I don't remember if he was in Colorado or if he was in Toronto for that, but I'm pretty sure it was Toronto.
Yeah. Either way, though, I mean, Kadri is just one of those players where you're like, well, some shit's going down when he's in whatever team he's on. But, anyway. So now that we have this and Corey Perry is over in Tampa and Nazem Kadri is back in Colorado, that's your Stanley Cup final. And the Avalanche are going to win another one because Corey Perry's on the Lightning. There we go. There's the prediction from the trade deadline. Anyway.
Well, you got to remember, like that's pretty much a lock now at this point because when he winds up on playoff teams, they'll get to the Stanley Cup final and he'll get the opportunity.
But you
He's
know what's
going
going
to
to
lose.
Here's what's going to happen though. Kadri's going to shoot his mouth off about Corey Perry, and Corey Perry's going to knee him in the face.
No, you know what would be irony of all irony?
What?
He finally gets to say this is his final year, right? Finally gets back to the Stanley Cup final. You know who he loses to?
Who?
Anaheim.
Oh my God! Wouldn't that be priceless?
The only team he's ever won with loses in the Stanley Cup final. Anaheim gets cup number 2, and Corey Perry loses number 5.
And wouldn't it be even funnier is if it came out that they were thinking like, "Hey, do you want to go back to Anaheim?" And he said no.
Yeah, he wanted to stay. He initially wanted to stay with the Kings, but I think the opportunity came along to go back to Tampa, and he was just like he jumped at the bet because
I don't blame him.
There was a report out there that saying that he wanted to stay in LA.
I mean, yeah, there's that. I mean, I don't. Hey, hey, he had his reasons, I'm sure. I mean, Artemi Panarin's over there, and he was willing to go there as fast as he possibly could.
And
so
Panarin finally got his number.
That's true. That's true. He
Respect
did.
to 10.
Yeah. So, hey, I mean, LA is going to have some question marks. They're definitely going to.
Now, I wonder with Corey Perry going back to Tampa before we wrap this up here. Now, in order to get the number from Bailey, the mascot for the Kings, it looked like he was gifted a watch. Now that Bailey has his number back and Panarin has his number 10, did Bailey have to give the watch back, or does he still have the watch? That's what I want to know. Where'd that watch go?
That's a good question, actually.
Where'd the watch go?
Yeah, you know what? There might have been some backroom dealing made right there to make sure it's like, hey, listen, we'll give you that number, but that watch is going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying that watch is not no.
Or that's a great present for Bailey, since that's a great precedent for the organization.
Right. Listen, that was Bailey's father's watch. And, he fought in a war to have that. So, I'm just saying you might want to, give that back. Just saying, Panarin. It's like, what have you done for the Kings? Nothing.
Basically.
And then he's just like, but I just got here. It's like, exactly.
Well, I'm referring to the mascot, right?
Yeah. That's
okay.
That's why I was making those jokes. Yeah.
Okay.
No. I know Josh Bailey, the player, is not who we are referring to.
Okay. I just wanted to double check and make sure.
No. Anyway, but in all seriousness, though, for all the teams that are getting ready for their showdown in the Coliseum known as the Stanley Cup playoffs, it is put up or shut up time. I mean, obviously, there's still some time left to get some points, to get some positioning, and for some teams to try to get a wild card spot altogether to even get into the dance. And Colorado just took the lead 2-1 on Edmonton. So I'm expecting a high-scoring game, which I wouldn't be shocked by because it's Edmonton, and they like to let in 5 goals a game.
Well,
so
that's what they do. They don't like defense, and they like subpar goaltending. So.
Pretty much. Actually, I was seeing something that was a post that Tristan Jarry is the Stuart Skinner of the West now, and Stuart Skinner is the Tristan Jarry of the East. They just swap spots.
Yeah. I didn't see that, but that definitely makes sense with how the both of them have been playing.
Right? But you know what? It's just hilarious when you think about it. Anyway, and it wouldn't even, oh my God. sorry, I know we got to wrap this up, but it's like, wouldn't it be hilarious? I mean, I hope this doesn't happen because that means I have to deal with Pittsburgh in another Stanley Cup final, and I pray to God that is not what happens. But could you imagine if you have the Oilers and the Penguins meeting each other, and it's Jari versus Skinner in that Stanley Cup final? Imagine the goal scoring. Just picture that for a minute. Good Lord, Connor McDavid would have to get a hat trick a night in that Stanley Cup final. Good Lord.
I don't even want to think about that. That's
oh my
but
God.
who would win that?
You know what's funny? I could actually see that going to Edmonton because I think Skinner would actually just outfail Jari only because Edmonton would just willpower their way to this cup with McDavid because it would be their third straight Stanley Cup final. And also on top of it, I could see Pittsburgh, like it could almost be a passing of the torch moment. Crosby and Malkin losing to Connor McDavid. I mean, when you think about it, it actually would be a storybook Stanley Cup final when you get right down to it.
Yeah, I would see Pittsburgh winning that just because it would be good to see like the current Sidney Crosby and the future Sidney Crosby going at it, and Sid and McDavid, but I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to happen anyway. So,
saying
Oilers did nothing at the trade deadline to make them better. So
that's a good point, though. But Priz saying Oilers winning on that one.
Yeah,
but
probably.
We'll see, though. I mean, the Oilers at this point, though, they're losing 2-1 right now to Colorado, and they're in danger of not even making it because they have to keep battling for a fucking wild card spot at this point. So
they're currently in the division spot last I saw, but yeah, it's not.
I
think both wild card spots are being taken up by Central Division teams. I think it's Utah for sure, and I can't remember who the other one was.
Right. So either way, though, but it's getting to the point where it's like, oh man, if Edmonton slips out, they're probably not even in it. So yeah, now.
No, and that's it. That's spot on.
Yeah. So, we got a fight. Frederick who the hell's he fighting?
I don't know, but imagine giving that guy an 8-year contract.
He's fighting Wah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. So with that, went very over, but all the same though, that'll do it for this edition of Flyers Talk A2D. Fun trade deadline talk, the speculation running high, a battle of the ages coming in the playoffs. Might have some fresh faces in the playoffs for once, which would be nice. And some new matchups too, or matchups we haven't seen in a while as well. So new blood here. It'd be interesting to see. So with that, we were brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. Any aches and pains, you hit up a doc at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And from all of us here, thank you for joining us. You stay safe. You stay healthy out there. As always, let me check that trusty old calendar right now. Let's take a look and see what we got coming up for the Flyers in terms of live reactions. Next week, the Flyers are going to be playing they actually got a bit of a break here because after they play on Saturday against the Blue Jackets, they don't play until Wednesday against your Ducks.
In Anaheim.
Yeah, in Anaheim. Yeah, because it's 10 o'clock. So, yeah. So, we won't have a game to live react to. But we will have a game to preview, and it'll be I almost said it. It'll be a Flyers Talk Bowl situation right there between the two of the show teams. So there you go.
I just hope it's not going to be a repeat of that first game. Ay caramba.
I can almost guarantee you it won't because the Flyers haven't been playing with any type of fucking energy as we've been talking about. Yeah. So
Cutter's going to have a hat trick.
Oh God, that would be just lovely to see that happen.
Appreciate you, Briz.
Thanks, Cutter. Thanks, Briz. But yeah, 1 through 8 format. That'd be interesting if they brought it
100%.
back. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to bring it back, actually, if they did that. Just, if you have
Yeah.
such an issue with it, it's like, okay, real simple. Make the top 2 spots, make them the division winners.
Yeah.
Done.
My thing
Problem
with
solved.
bringing back the 1 to 8 is you're eliminating some of these division matchups that you would want to see for a Stanley Cup final. Sometimes they're the best series, and a lot of times you're getting those series now in the first round, and the rest of the playoffs aren't going to be as fun because it's two teams you were looking forward to see, and they're done already.
That is a good point, but I will stress this though. There is something to be said for outer division rivalries. I mean, think about it. The Flyers reignited their rivalry with the Bruins during that time
True.
period, and they had a massive playoff rivalry with the Sabres because they faced them at least 6 times.
Yeah.
So there is something to be said that, you know, could be some rivalries born out
Yeah.
of that.
I don't want to see Colorado and Dallas in the first round. I want to see Colorado and Dallas for a cup berth. I want to see Tampa Bay and Boston for a cup berth. Like those are those are the rivalries that I want to see that are basically for all or nothing.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Well, either way, though, we'll see if they decide to amend the playoffs. I don't think they will. I don't think the NHL has any interest in doing that right now.
At
They
least
are
not
going
right now under the new CBA. I think the new CBA still got a couple years left on it.
right. As per the season, though, and we'll talk about this more when we get closer to the off season or in the off season, there'll be 84 games instead of 82. So that'll be interesting to talk about. But
Mhm.
anyway, we will see you guys next week right here on a2dradio.com. Until then, you stay safe, you stay healthy out there, folks. The playoffs are getting so very close to arriving. Until then, though, everyone's battling for those playoff spots, and we're here to enjoy every single second of it. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, you stay safe, you stay healthy. Peace and love, everybody.
God bless.